The village of Melbustad clung to the edge of a fjord. Dark forests crowded close, ancient trees whispering secrets to the wind. The people there knew the land. They knew the ways of the creatures that lived within it. They knew the old stories. These tales were passed down through generations, told around crackling fires on long winter nights. One tale, whispered more than told, was the story of the troll wedding. It was a warning, a reminder of the dangers lurking beneath the surface of the world. But it was also a story of courage, of a young woman's quick wit and bravery. Melbustad was a place of hard work and simple pleasures. Life revolved around the seasons. The villagers fished in the deep waters of the fjord. They farmed the land, coaxing life from the thin soil. They lived and loved under the watchful eyes of the mountains. Life was harsh, but good. Or so they thought, until the day the trolls came to call. There was a maiden in Melbustad known for her kindness and her courage. She lived with her father, a widower who doted on his only daughter. She was as beautiful as the first snow of winter. Her laughter was like the sound of a bubbling stream. One day, her father gave her a task. She was to take their small herd of cattle to graze in the high meadows. It was a day's journey each way. The maiden packed a simple lunch of bread and cheese. She kissed her father goodbye and set off. The meadows were lush and green. The cattle grazed peacefully. The maiden sat on a rock, listening to the birdsong. The sun beat down on her back. She felt a sense of peace settle over her. But this peace was not meant to last. As the sun began to set, a strange feeling came over her. A cold dread crept into her heart. She knew she was not alone. She turned, her heart pounding in her chest. Standing before her was a young man. He was tall and handsome, with piercing blue eyes. But there was something not quite right about him. His smile was too wide. His eyes held a strange glint.
Greetings, fair maiden. I have been watching you. You are the most beautiful creature I have ever seen. I would make you my bride.
The maiden was taken aback. She had never met this man before. She could feel a strange energy emanating from him. It both intrigued and frightened her.
I thank you for your kind words, but I do not know you. I cannot marry a stranger.
The man laughed, a cold, empty sound that echoed through the valley.
That is a small matter. We have plenty of time to get acquainted. My wedding party awaits us. Come, my love, our destiny awaits.
The maiden's blood ran cold. She knew in her heart that something was terribly wrong, but she was trapped. She had to play for time.
Very well, but first I must send word to my father. He will worry if I do not return home tonight.
The stranger hesitated for a moment.
Very well, but be quick about it. We have a long journey ahead of us.
The maiden reached into her bag and pretended to write a message on a piece of parchment. She tied it to the collar of her faithful dog. The dog, sensing her fear, whimpered and licked her hand.
Go, boy, go find my father.
The dog took off running, the message flapping from his neck. He raced down the mountainside towards the village nestled in the valley below. The stranger led the maiden through the darkening forest. The trees seemed to press in on them, their branches like grasping claws. Strange shapes flitted through the undergrowth. The air grew heavy with the smell of damp earth and something else, something ancient and unsettling.
The maiden's heart pounded as they came to a clearing. A fire blazed in the center, casting eerie shadows that danced and swirled.
Around the fire sat a group of figures. They were not human. Their eyes glowed with an unnatural light. Their skin was green and warty. They were trolls, creatures of darkness and magic. The maiden's heart sank. She had stumbled into a nightmare. She was about to be sacrificed to these creatures of darkness.
Just when all hope seemed lost, a sound pierced the night. It was the sound of barking, growing closer by the second.
The trolls stirred, their heads snapping towards the sound. The stranger cursed under his breath. The maiden dared to hope. Could her faithful dog have reached her father in time? The barking grew louder, closer. A figure burst into the clearing, silhouetted against the firelight. It was a young man, tall and strong, with a hunting bow slung over his shoulder. He raced to the maiden's side, pushing her behind him protectively.
"Are you all right?" he asked, his voice filled with concern.
The maiden nodded, too choked with emotion to speak.
The stranger snarled. "This is none of your concern, boy," he hissed. "Leave now, and you will not be harmed."
"I will not abandon her to you," the young man retorted. "Who are you, and what is this sorcery?"
The stranger laughed, a chilling sound. "You are too late, fool. She is mine." As if on cue, the trolls surrounding them began to shift. The glamour that had concealed their true forms began to fade. Their faces grew long and snout-like, their eyes burning with malevolent fire. Claws sprouted from their fingertips. The young man drew back his bow, an arrow knocked and aimed at the stranger's heart.
Let her go, he commanded, his voice cold and steady, or face the consequences.
Section 7, a wedding twice delayed. The scene erupted into chaos. The trolls surged forward, their roars shaking the very ground beneath their feet.
The young man fought with the ferocity of a cornered wolf, his arrows finding their marks with deadly accuracy.
The maiden, her initial terror giving way to a fierce determination, grabbed a burning branch from the fire. She thrust it at the trolls, driving them back from the young man. The air filled with the smell of singed flesh and the guttural cries of wounded trolls. The battle raged.
But the trolls, for all their strength and fury, were no match for the courage of the humans and the encroaching dawn.
As the first rays of sunlight pierced the forest canopy, the trolls began to weaken. Their forms flickered and wavered, their movements growing sluggish. With a final, ear-splitting shriek, they vanished into thin air, leaving behind only the echo of their rage. The forest fell silent. The young man and the maiden stood panting, leaning against each other for support. They were bruised and bloodied, but alive. Section 8, the Troll Stone. The maiden turned to the young man, her eyes filled with gratitude.
Thank you. You saved my life.
It was my honor. Your dog arrived in the village just as your father and I were about to sit down to dinner. He brought your message and we came as quickly as we could.
My father, where is he?
The young man pointed to a figure emerging from the trees. It was the maiden's father, his face etched with worry, but his relief at seeing his daughter safe evident in his tear-filled eyes. He rushed to her side, embracing her tightly. As they made their way back to the village, the young man told the maiden how he had loved her from afar for many years. He had been too shy to approach her, but seeing her in danger had given him the courage to act. The maiden, touched by his bravery and his love, confessed that she returned his feelings. They stopped at the edge of the clearing. There, lying on the ground, was a single smooth stone. It shimmered strangely in the morning light.
A troll stone, a reminder of the danger that lurks in the shadows, but also a reminder of your courage.
He picked up the stone and handed it to the maiden.
Keep it safe. Let it be a reminder of this night, and a reminder of the love we share.
Section 9, Whispers of the Past. The village of Melbusted rejoiced at the maiden's safe return. They listened wide-eyed as she and the young man recounted their harrowing tale. The villagers praised the young man's bravery and the maiden's quick thinking.
The trolls were not seen again, but the memory of that night lingered like a shadow over the village. It was a reminder that the world held dangers both seen and unseen. It was a reminder to be ever vigilant, to hold loved ones close.
The maiden and the young man were married the very next day. It was a joyous occasion. The whole village turned out to celebrate. There was music and dancing and feasting. The bride and groom were radiant. They looked at each other with a love that had been forged in the fires of danger. The wedding feast lasted long into the night. Stories were told, songs were sung, and laughter filled the air. The darkness, for one night at least, was held at bay. Section 10, A Legacy of Bravery. Years passed. The maiden and her husband lived long and happy lives. They had many children and grandchildren. The troll stone, a silent sentinel, sat on their mantelpiece, a constant reminder of the night their lives had changed forever. The story of the troll wedding became a legend in Melbustad, passed down from generation to generation. A cautionary tale, yes, but also a story of hope and courage. A reminder that even in the darkest of times, love and bravery could triumph over evil. And so, the tale of the troll wedding lived on, whispered around crackling fires on long winter nights, a testament to the enduring power of love, courage, and the human spirit. A reminder that some stories, like some stones, are meant to last forever.